Okay, so the second part of our discussion is to buy or not to buy. That is the question. Kailangan bang bilhin o wag bilhin? That is the question. You know what? A lot of people wants to accumulate things. We are in a way uh, get to be able to identify our importance and our character, our identity with the things that we have. And these are just some of the things that we would like to explicitate, or we would like to understand here, that our possessions are actually somehow would actually somehow give us clues as to who we are, because they through our possessions we may discover our interests, we may discover also uh, a few things about the mystery of the self. Okay, so as I continue with the discussion, I will just be going back and forth to the other page because some people are still coming. Now, according to William James was a psychologist as well as a philosopher. And according to him, understanding the self can be examined through its different components. So maaari nating maunawaan ang ating sarili by examining the different components of the self. Number one are its constituents, and we are going to discuss that a little later. And then number two are the feelings and emotions they arouse. Those are self feelings. The actions to which they prompt, the self-seeking and self-preservation that we have. Now, talking about the constituents of self, it is composed of our material self, the social self, the spiritual self, and the pure ego. Now, when we talk about our material self, it includes the body. Of course, that includes our body. The way we take care of our body and the way we would like our body to look like, um, the kind of haircut that we sport, the way we improve our appearance by beautifying ourselves or making ourselves more guapo or more guapa, and going to salons and take in a new look. Okay, have a new look, a new makeover, or going to gym to improve our physique. Those are somehow give us a clue as to how we look at ourselves and our our conception of what is our ideal body. The clothes that we choose, whether they are ultra modern or conservative, or in a way somehow it show up or uh, flaunt our bodies. The immediate family are also part of our material self and our home. So we also take pride in the kind of family that we have, or some, unfortunately, shame or embarrassment because they are part of the family. Uh, or and the kind of house, the home that you have is in a way definitive, or not really definitive, but in a way an instrument in defining who we are, in defining the kind of person that we are. All right, so let us move on. The more investment of self given to the particular thing, the more we identify ourselves to it. So the more that we take care of it and the more that we are invest in it, pinaghirapan nating mabili, the more that we are identifying ourselves with it. Let's say, for example, your first car. Your first car is a symbol of how you try to really save money and earn. and work and the kind of work that you have, that first car, that car is a symbol of what you were able to accomplish. So, maaaring yung first car mo is already old, but you cannot get rid of it because why? Because it symbolizes something. It has some kind of a sentimental value. You identify yourself to it. We also tend to collect and possess properties. That the more properties and the more things that we have would, in a way, make us feel that we are an important person. And those things that we collect, even though they do not have monetary values, are considered important because they have it tells some kind of history about yourself. Okay? I think hindi na ako makatanggap. Mm, I know that we are capable of having more than 100 persons here, but well, for those who were not able to, ayan. Okay, so 101. Okay. So for those who were able to who were not able to who cannot participate, okay? Now we still have a 5 to 8, okay? So the collections in different degree of investments of self becomes part of ourselves. So all those things that we have, the books that we have, the collections that we have, the memorabilia that we try to collect when we go to places, we are in a way saying that I've gone to this place and I've been somebody because I was able to go to Paris. Russell Bell posits that we regard our possessions as part of ourselves. We are what we have and what we possess. That's Russell Bell. In a way, we are what we have and what we possess is, in a way, a little bit limiting because we are an individual. Our individuality, our personhood, actually can be transcended. We can transcend ourselves beyond and above the things that we have. Okay, beyond and above the things that we have. So, this is a rather limited way of a limited way of uh, of a limited way of trying to tell ourselves who we are. Okay. Now, for some practicalities, would you please message those who are trying to enter that we are already in full capacity right now and that there is a 5 to 8 p.m. schedule. Okay, there is a 5 to 8 p.m. schedule that they can access. Okay, so hindi na makapasok yung iba. So wag na nilang i-try para hindi na tunog ng tunog. There will be a 5 to 8 session for them. Okay? Pakisabi na lang, paki-message na lang yung mga grupo ninyo. Okay. So pagka may umaalis, may nakakapasok na bago. Okay, now going back, as we grow older, putting importance to material possession decreases. So mapapansin niyo yon. Because why does it decrease? Because as we grow older, we find out that all those material possessions that we are acquiring all throughout the years are becoming burdensome. Nagiging mahirap na i-manage, and some of them are already losing its meaning. And because of that, we value more we value more those memories rather than the memorabilia or the material things that would allow us to remember those things. Okay, so we put less importance to material possession. There is a decrease in the giving of importance to material possession. However, as we grow older, there is also a tendency To possess bigger things rather than smaller things. Possess bigger things rather than smaller things. Okay, I am going to give you an example of mine. Okay, this is an example wherein back then I would like to have all the books that I can buy, and everywhere I go, I try to buy something from that place so that it will serve to remind me that I have been there. But as of the moment, okay, if there is a possibility that I do not need the book, the physical book, I do not buy them. If there is a possibility that I can read the book via ebook, I prefer ebooks. Why? Because my house, my room, and the other rooms in the house are already filled with my books. Also, the saints, the images that I have in the house are already becoming cluttered, and I do not have enough space for mga poon na ilagay sa altar. And so my tendency is just to put a uh, the crucifix, on my altar, in my altar, and the image of Mama Mary and Saint Joseph, and that is enough. And then the rest are placed in simply placed in just a box, or well, sama-sama sa isang corner. Pero dati, gustong-gusto ko na bibili ng mga maliliit na poon, mga ganyan, mga angels and everything. But right now, I am more selective. Another example is I'd rather buy or invest in bigger things rather than smaller things, such as instead of buying all small things like a mug or whatever, I'd defer from buying them and save for building my own house. Hindi naman sa pagyayabang. Example ko lang that I just recently have a solar power system installed in our roof, which will be able to accommodate all our electricity needs, and even in the future, even up to 40 years from now. So a big investment now, pero in the end, this thing that I accumulate, kahit patay na ako, will be able to be will still be able to be used by the younger people in my family. Okay, and of course to build a house for myself so that I can have a small house just for myself. Okay, so the need for material possession decreases, but there is also a change in the way you wanted to the things that you wanted to possess. Okay, it becomes bigger, or maybe it becomes less for yourself but for others. Like for example, when I bought uh, a projector for my class. Kaya lang hindi ko na masyadong pinakinabangan dahil nagkaroon ng COVID. And so, yung kabibili ko lang na projector, pinakinabangan ko lang siya ng 2 buwan, and then hindi ko na nagamit. Material possession gains higher value in our lifetime. If we use material possession to find happiness, associate these things with significant events, accomplishments, and people in our lives. So these material possessions are more valuable if they are meaningful, okay? If they are attached to something eventful, a significant event and accomplishment in your life. The possessions that we dearly have tell something about who we are, our self-concept, our past, and even our future. So if you're going to look at all the possessions that you have accumulated all throughout the years, and the kind of clothes that you buy kahit na hindi mo na naisusuot, pero you cannot just give it away, and the kind of books that you have read, the kind of appliances that you have, a speaker system or a television or a bicycle or what, it tells us and it tells people the kind of person you are. Okay? Huh? So that's for so when we reflect about this thing, it will tell us that we really have to be careful about what we are buying and what we are investing on, because these are actually those things that we have are actually reflective of who we are. E paano kung ang mga possession mo ay mga magazines na para lang sa iyong alam nyo na, it tells us the kind of person you are. Okay? And so on and so forth. Now, going back to my kwento that I built a solar panel, okay, and spent about uh, really big amount of money, a really big amount of money. I'm not going to tell you how much. Pero pagka nag-research kayo, malalaman ninyo kung magkano ang solar panel. It will give you an idea also na hindi lang basta gusto ko makatipid in the future na hindi na ako magbayad sa Meralco. But also, it will also give you an idea that I am a person who would like to be able to contribute for the good of the environment. Simply because if we are going to compute the power that we are using, okay, there is an equivalent carbon footprint that we are leaving to our mother nature, because all the electricity that we are using are mostly produced by fossil fuels, by oil and by coal, and they contribute to the increase in the carbon uh, footprints that we have. So in a way, if I will be able to save myself from contributing in the increase of carbon footprints for 40 years, that will be really a significant amount of contribution, and that is my way. That is my way of helping the future generations to have a better and more livable planet. Okay. So that is actually one of my motivations why I invested that much money for solar system power panels. Okay. So we are what we have, we are what we invest in, etc., etc. So try to look at what you have and see if those things that you have are caused by impulse buying without really thinking about do you really need it, or was it just a spur of the moment, and then after that pagsisisihan mo, bakit ko ba binili-bili ito, wala namang gamit, hindi ko naman pala magagamit. Those are the things that can tell you also about the kind of personality that you have. Are you a compulsive, an impulsive buyer? Or do you really consider carefully where you are going to put your money? Okay. The next topic, as I have said, these are topics that are already really very short, and yung mga nauna I advise na yung nakatapos na dun sa first part, I advise that they give way already for those who are trying to enter. So pagkatapos nito ay magsisimula ulit ako sa topic number 1. Okay? So this is topic number 3. Do not just dream, make it happen. We all have dreams, all right? We all have this future project for ourselves that we envision. We all have that idea of an ideal self and ideal life, that you think that you are going to be happy, if ever you will be able to accomplish this or that, or to get this or to get that, to possess this and that, or to have that kind of fame or importance in the society. But if you are simply going to dream, then these dreams will never be able to materialize unless you make it happen, unless you actively do something to make it happen. It will not just fall in the sky and sit in your lap. You have to work in order to make it happen. So, in discussing this topic, we try to look at the ideas of Albert Bandura, uh, uh, Carl Dweck, and Edwin Locke. Okay, so these three thinkers will tell us how to eventually get to be able to achieve the dreams that we have. Okay, so Albert Bandura's idea of self-efficacy, or the capability of the self to make things happen. Now, I would like to explain to you the Bobo doll experiment. This experiment was done on a sample of children who were presented with new social models of violent and non-violent behavior toward an inflatable redounding Bobo doll. Alam niyo yung Bobo doll, yung kahit nasipain nyo, tadyakan nyo, suntukin nyo, tatayo at tatayo. There is a particular fulcrum, okay? Kahit na ihiga mo 'yan, babalik sa pagkakatayo. So you get the idea of what a Bobo doll is, okay? I would like to for those who cannot, sir, recorded po ba ito saka po ipapasok po ba sa Schoology? Yes, I am recording it right now. I am recording it right now for the sake of those who will not be able to join us here. Okay, and I do not know if I can upload it in Schoology because the recording might be very big. So I am going to try to, if not, I am going to upload it in YouTube, pero medyo gabi na yun eh. So you have to stay here kung makakapasok, at yung hindi ibang makapasok, lalabas naman yung iba na nandito na kanina, makakapasok na sila after our discussion of topic number 3, which I am discussing right now. Okay, so that's my answer to Lance Del Rosario. So let me just show you kung hindi nyo kung hindi ninyo ma-picture ang Bobo doll. This is a Bobo doll, okay? So yan, there is a weight at the center of the mass na kahit na itulak-tulak, suntukin, sipain yan ay laging tatayo. That's a Bobo doll. And this was done by Albert Bandura made this experiment. Ang experiment ni Albert Bandura ay in-expose niya yung mga bata sa models of violent and non-violent behavior toward a Bobo doll. Okay? So one group of children saw a violent models trying to doing violent behavior towards the Bobo doll, and another group of children were shown a non-violent behavior towards the Bobo doll. Results: the group of children who saw the violent behavior model became violent to the doll, while the control group who was presented with the non-violent model was rarely violent to the doll. Now, this experiment has proven right a hypothesis that social modeling is a very effective way of learning, meaning what the children sees, the children does. Okay? What they see, they do. Okay? So kung ano ang nakikita ng mga bata sa matatanda, yun din ang kanilang ginagaya. Bandura's social cognitive theory states that people are active participants in their environment, are not simply shaped by that environment. Meaning to say, ang ginagawa natin ay nakikita ng iba, okay? At yung ginagawa natin na nakikita ng iba ay maaaring maka-impluwensya sa ibang tao. In the same way na yung mga nakita natin na ginagawa ng iba at yung mga nakikita natin vicariously sa TV ay maaari ding maka-impluwensya sa ating mga sarili. So in a way, we are both giver and recipient of influences in our society. All right? So we learn from others and others are also learning from us. In a way, the way we interact and the way we behave are learned behaviors and are also learned by others from us, especially if you are a person who is in a way influential. Kung ikaw ay isang napaka-ma-impluensyang tao at lagi kang nakikita sa television at nagsasalita at lagi kang nagmumura, then there is a very big tendency, okay, you have a very high influence over the people in the society to mouth curses, okay, to speak curses in a very, very casual manner, okay? And if you are a person who values human life in a very little way, then there is also a very big tendency that the people in that society will give little value to human life. So you see how the interaction go on, okay? Na nagkakagayahan tayo. That's Bandura's social cognitive theory. Now, the summary of self-efficacy theory. It distinguishes between expectations of efficacy and response outcome expectancies. Okay, so your expectation of efficacy will have something to do with the response outcome expectancies. So if you expect that you are good or in a way capable of learning, okay, then the response outcome expectancy will be higher. But let's say for example, na magsisimula ka palang pag-aralan ng philosophy at sasabihin mo na kagad sa sarili mo that your self-efficacy is deficient in learning philosophy, then the response outcome expectancy is also going to be low. You are lowering the bar of your standard. Okay, I am not good enough, and so I expect that I will only be able to learn 25% of what is expected to be learned from me. So, matutunan ko lang at least 25% dito, okay na. Kasi hanggang dito lang naman ang kakayahan ng utak ko. The same thing with mathematics. The same thing with mathematics, if you don't believe that you are capable of understanding the manipulation of numbers, then your response outcome expectancy is going to be lowered. However, if you have an expectation of your efficacy, if you put yourself with a high standard of or a high expectation of efficacy, yung naniniwala ka sa sarili mo na kaya mo pagka pinagbutihan mo at sinubukan mo, then your response outcome expectancy is going to be significantly higher. I'm going to tell you that there are people who were able to surpass the intelligence of people with very high IQs simply because they have high expectations of efficacy toward themselves. Okay? Mataas ang kanilang expectations of efficacy sa sarili nila, so much so that their response outcome expectancy ay mataas din. So pagka yung mababa ang kanilang understanding, they become frustrated and so they try again. Pero yun namang mga tao na mayroong mga matataas na IQ pero mababa ang expectations of efficacy towards the self, kahit mataas ang IQ nila, yung mataas ang kanilang learning capacity, because they do not expect so much from themselves, they do not perform well enough. I hope you get the point, okay? Uh, this is also true with how successful you are going to be in your life. If you are going to tell yourself that you are poor, and that as a poor person, there is no way that you can build a house that is nice, or there is also no way that you can invest in a solar panel like what I did, then your response outcome expectancy would be nothing will be built, or you will not be able to invest on anything na na mahal. Ano ngayon ang mangyayari? Kapag ka nagkapera ka ng konti, you will satisfy yourself with whatever whatever it is that your small money, or yes, small money, little amount of money can buy. Ito yung nangyayari sa mga tao na hindi sila naniniwala na makaiipon sila at kikitain nila na makabili ng lupa at bahay at makabili ng kotse. Kaya ngayon, pagka nagkaroon sila ng 200, 300 pesos o kahit 50 pesos o kahit 100 pesos, ibibili na lang ng gagastusin sa mga bagay na hindi naman ganoon kaimportante. Like what, for example? Red horse. Nagkaroon ng konting pera, ibinili ng red horse. Nagkaroon ng konting pera, ibinili ng sigarilyo. Pero kung ang expectations of efficacy mo, nakakayanin mong makabili ng kotse, nakakayanin mong makapagpundar ng negosyo, kahit ang pera mo pala ngayon ay 500 piso, then you are going to save that money. You are not going to spend that money for things that are not that important. You get? I hope you get what I'm trying to say. Kapag ka ikaw ay isang tao na hindi kumikita ng malaki, at pagka nagkaroon ka ng pera, nilalagay mo sa bisyo, nilalagay mo sa pampasarap sa sarili kaagad, at binibigyan mo kaagad ng sarap ang sarili mo, at lagi yun ang ginagawa mo, then you will never come to a point in your life that you will be able to afford a much better and bigger things. I hope you agree with me. This is my experience. Sabi nga ng isang kaibigan ko na mayaman siya. Alam mo kuya, ang tawag niya sa akin kuya kasi mas matanda ako ng ilang taon sa kanya. Alam mo kuya, mas ipinapasubo ko ang sarili ko sa mga bagay na malalaki. Doon dumarating at nakakaisip ako ng iba't ibang paraan para makahanap ako ng pera, para magawa ko at mabayaran ko at makuha ko kung ano yung ikinumit ko sa sarili ko. When you dream big and work on it. Okay. Number 2, outcome expectancy is a person's estimate that a given behavior will lead to certain outcomes. Okay, so your estimate that the thing that you are doing right now, the thing that you are doing right now, this is your estimate that this is going to be the consequence or the outcome of what you are doing. Okay, that's outcome expectancy. So in a way, you will be able to measure the kind of output or the kind of result, the amount of result that your action will be able to produce. That's outcome expectancy. So, if you know that your action is only going to produce this much and what you are actually projecting, your response outcome expectancy is much higher than that, then there should be a raising of the behavior or the effort. You should raise your effort if your expected outcome is going to be less than what you really want to achieve. Okay? So, kung magtatrabaho ba ako ng 8 oras sa isang araw, makukuha ko ang magiging resulta ba nito ay makakabili ba ako ng kung gusto mong bumili ng condominium unit sa loob ng 3 taon. Because sa loob ng 3 taon, gusto kong makabili ng condominium unit. Ang halaga ng condominium unit, let's say for example, ay 3 million pesos. So, kukumputin mo. Outcome expectancy, you have to be able to compute. If this is the kind of job that you are going to take and you are committed to work 8 hours a day, that kind of job that you are going to take and the amount of time that you are going to work on it should be equal to your goal. Okay? If it is not going to be equivalent to your goal, then you must, in a way, try to modify, no? Dalawa lang ang pupuntahan nun. I-modify mo yung response outcome expectancy mo. Okay? I-modify mo, hindi pala kaya na 3 million pesos na halaga ng condominium unit. Ang kaya ko lang pala ay mga 1.5 million pesos. Because I do not want to make my health suffer at saka magtrabaho nang hindi ko naman gustong trabaho. So your dreams should also be flexible. Okay? Now guys, okay, this sana wag ninyong isipin na ako'y nagmamagaling o nagmamayabang. Okay. This solar panel project that I have, matagal kong pinag-aralan yan. Tapos, hindi lang yan ang pangarap ko. There are immediate things that I really wanted to be able to do. I am 54 years old right now. So, ano pa ba ang pwede kong gawin? Ano pa ang pwede kong gawin aside from supporting my family and raising my nieces and nephew and giving them education and buying food for the family. Aside from that, ano pa ang pwede kong gawin na masisigurado ko that at age 60 meron akong good retirement sa pamamagitan ng pagtuturo, because ito ang trabaho na hindi lang basta kaya ko, kundi gusto kong gawin. I enjoy doing this. Okay? Because I find my life's meaning in doing this, in teaching. So ano ang pwede kong gawin? So I said to myself, kailangan ay unahin ko na makatipid sa kuryente. Okay? Dahil ang gusto kong makuha ay, yun nga, pagdating ng retirement ko at hindi na ako pwede magtrabaho, gusto ko na komportable pa rin ang buhay ko, na yung naka-aircon ako lagi dahil magkakasakit ako pag hindi naka-aircon, na may internet ako lagi, na meron ako laging libro, na meron akong maayos na sasakyan, na meron akong privacy, meron akong sariling bahay na maliit lang para yun talagang sa akin na wala akong kasama. Dahil gusto ko magkaroon ako ng tahimik na environment wherein I can study, okay, as much as I want. Kahit na hindi ako nagtuturo, gusto ko lagi ako nag-aaral. I can read as much as I want and I can pray as much as I want na walang disturbance. So, ang pangarap ko right now is, of course, to have a pension, at yun ay meron naman talagang darating na pension. And then another thing is that to preserve my health so that even at the age of 75, katulad ni Dean De Jesus, nakapagtuturo pa at kumikita pa. Kaya pa, okay? At the age of 75 or 76 na yata si Dean De Jesus, pero kaya pa. So meaning to say, up to that age, kung mabubuhay pa ako ng ganon, kikita pa rin ako. Pero at the same time, I want to be able to lessen my expenses. So by that time, hindi na ako nagbabayad ng kuryente na umaabot hanggang 5 to 8,000 pesos a month. Dahil lahat na yan ay sagot na ng solar panel, which is naikabit na sa amin. So tapos na yung isang project ko. Pangalawang project, pagkatapos kong bayaran itong solar panel, then I am capable of getting a loan from Pag-ibig Housing. Okay? and I am planning to build a tall but small house but tall. Gusto ko kasi may view. And a garden na nasa second floor. Garden wherein mayroong ampalaya at upo at patola na gumagapang sa itaas. Yun na rin yung pinakadilim ko. And I have already plans for that. So my response outcome expectancy ganoon hanggang doon. Bakit yun ang pinaplano ko, bakit hindi mansion? Because you have to consider also, I have to consider also the amount of money that I am capable of earning. Okay? So the outcome expectancy should also be equal to the expectations of efficacy. Do you understand? Okay, so these are my plans. Those are my plans. And then at the same time, if I am still working, na i-build ko na yung house and I am just going to be paying about 7,000 pesos if I'm going to borrow 1 million, I will only be paying 7,000 to 8,000 pesos sa Pag-ibig Fund for the next 25 years. At kung makamatayan ko yon, wala na akong utang. Okay? So let's say for example, I will be paying 7,000 pesos para sa Pag-ibig Fund. Okay? Kayang-kaya ko mag-ipon para sa isang maliit na kotse, which at my age and for my need, hindi ko kailangan ng isang malaking kotse. You get what I am trying to say? So, a car, kahit na isang Toyota Vios, a car that is, yun talaga yung gusto ko. Toyota Vios. Kahit isang Toyota Vios na, well-equipped Toyota Vios will, pwede na niya akong samahan hanggang sa pagtanda ko. But I am not going to buy a car right now because my car is still working. So what am I going to do? While I am paying for the house that I am going to build in the future, I am going to save money for that Toyota Vios that I would like to buy and pay it in cash when the time comes. And when that time comes, siguro yun na rin yung time na yung kotse ko ay medyo talagang nangangailangan na ng kapalit. You get the point, okay? And well, I suppose that with the SSS pension plus the with the part-time job when I am already very old, I am going to continue teaching, but maybe online teaching na lang din o kaya ay writing lessons for the school or whatever it is that I can do, or simply writing a book ay magagawa ko in order to keep myself to keep myself having sufficient money for my old age. So you see, this is my dream, but I have a plan. I have a plan which is in line with my self-efficacy or expectations of my efficacy. You get the point, okay? Efficacy expectation is the conviction that one can successfully execute the behavior required to produce the outcomes. So nakuha nyo na yun, no? Naipaliwanag ko na by way of telling you my plans. Outcome and efficacy expectations are differentiated because individuals can believe that a particular course of action will produce certain outcomes. So they are differentiated. Some people may believe that your action may have a different outcome than what you believe to be the outcome of the same action. So in order to be assured that you are going to have a correct prediction of the outcome, then you have to study all the factors. Okay, so let's say for example right now the amount I am also invested in Bitcoin. Okay, I am also invested in Bitcoin, and right now I I am expecting that Bitcoin will cross over the threshold of one Bitcoin would be $30,000. It has already bumagsak ang halaga ng Bitcoin noon, virtual money 'yon digital money. Bumagsak ang halaga ng Bitcoin noon at noong time na ang presyo ng Bitcoin is $12,000, bumili ako ng Bitcoin. Okay? Now, nung bumili ko noon, okay, alam ko na magpa-fluctuate yan. Pero talaga medyo na-depress ako nung talagang bumagsak ang halaga ng Bitcoin. Kasi nung bumili ko ng Bitcoin, umabot na siya ng 20,000 eh. Tapos bumagsak ng 12, so isip ko, ito na yung bottom. Ito na yung pinakamababa. At aakyat ulit ito ng 20,000. So nung 12,000 ng Bitcoin, bumili ako. Unfortunately, nagpatuloy ng pagbaba hanggang naging $3,000 ang isang Bitcoin. So, muntik na mawala ang pera ko, pero hindi naman totally nawala because the value of Bitcoin is still there. Now, what I just did is that I allowed the Bitcoin to remain in my currency crypto wallet. I allowed the Bitcoin to remain in my crypto wallet, and as I have been studying the flow of virtual currencies right now, I know and I am sure that virtual currencies will be the currency of the future. So I said to myself, if I will be able to take hold of this Bitcoin na binili ko noon, okay, right now, halagang 40,000 lang naman ang binili kong Bitcoin noon eh. Right now, my Bitcoin is already valued at 54,000. At baka ngayon ay ano na, because 12,000 54,000 pesos because ang value na ng Bitcoin ngayon ay umaakyat na ulit sa threshold ng 20,000, and there is an indication that by the end of January it is already going to be 30,000. Now, ang long term so this is realistic, and this is my ito yung sinasabi, differentiated expectation to pero kasi may mga ibang tao naniniwala na mawawala Bitcoin. So this is a differentiated expectation. Okay. Pero ako, in my study, I have a projection that Bitcoin will balloon to 1 million per Bitcoin. 1 million per Bitcoin. So kung matalo man ako, that's only 40,000 yung aking initial investment. Kung matatalo man ako ay 40,000 yung natalo. Pero kung mananalo ko, okay, kung mananalo ko, then I am going to have kung aabot siya kasi in 20 years ang projection is 1 million per Bitcoin. Yung binili ko aabot ng $500,000, which is more than enough to keep me alive and live a comfortable life for the rest of my life. So, ito yung sinasabi ko, differentiated expectations per individual. Okay? So, magkakaiba talaga eh. So, maraming hindi naniniwala sa Bitcoin, marami ding naloko sa Bitcoin. Okay? Nagkaroon ng mga scam. But, well, of course, my approach here is, my approach with that is cautious, no? Pwede natin masabing maingat yung approach. Kumbaga, I don't put all my money in one basket, in just one basket. I don't put all my eggs in one basket. Okay? So maraming pwedeng panggalingan. Kung matalo, meron pa rin akong SSS at meron pa rin akong part-time job. You get what I mean? Hindi ako nagkukwento sa sarili ko ha. I am just using myself and all my plans to explain to you this self-efficacy theory and the other theories that will be coming later. Okay? Any question at this point? Okay, self-efficacy typically comes into play when there is an actual or perceived threat to one's personal safety or one's ability to deal with potentially aversive events. So, You are using, or you are taking full measure of your self-efficacy if you know that there are going to be actual threats. Okay? So gagamitin mo talaga yung galing mo. Okay? In order to address some kinds of threats in the future. And all of us have threats in the future. What are those? Disaster, sickness, old age, death. Again, my dear people, all of us have to prepare for all those things. All of us should see to it that we are not going to become a burden to our loved ones, to our family, to our children, that we are going to be self-sufficient. So, uh, ito yung sinasabi nating perceived threat. Okay? Our personal safety, ability to deal with potentially aversive events. And those are the things that are sure to come. Old age and death. Okay? So we have to be ready for all those things. And that's also the reason why we have to have ready or liquid asset, meaning to say that anytime that we need money, we have money to spend. So hindi basta-basta nagkaroon ka kagad ng pera, nagkaroon ka ng 50 pesos, bili ka kagad ng Red Horse. Dr. Bandura defined self-efficacy as people's beliefs about their capabilities to produce designated levels of performance that exercise influence over events that affect their lives. Kung naniniwala ka that you are capable of producing more, being more, and being better, delivering better lectures, for example, then your performance levels, you are going to force yourself into achieving that kind of performance level that can affect lives of other peoples and the events in the future. I hope I am making sense. Okay? Next, he identified acts of people with high assurance in their capabilities. So ito yung mga ginagawa ng mga tao who have some kind of high belief, okay? Certain belief in their capabilities. These are people who approach difficult tasks as challenges to be mastered. Okay, they don't shy away from difficult tasks. They look at difficult tasks as challenges, as as uh opportunities for them to learn something new, to have something, to have an addition, to adapt to learn additional skills, and to adapt to a new environment and to a new way of life. Okay? So, hindi nagkaroon ng COVID pandemic at nagkaroon ng restrictions, quarantine, ay iiyak na lang at maghihintay na lang ng tulong sa gobyerno. Okay? So, you take it as a challenge. You see, Dr. Sir Michael Yanga is such a person, okay? He is such a person that in spite of the challenges of this pandemic, he was able to deliver DYCI as a school in the forefront of online learning. Okay, while other schools closed their doors, DYCI expanded and adopted, and I believe that there will be hindi natin basta-basta ngayon dahil natutunan na natin ang advantages ng online learning. I believe that there will be a combination of face-to-face learning and online learning when when the pandemic ends. Okay, so there will be a combination of that because both face-to-face and online learning have their own advantages. Okay, and of course disadvantages too. Number two, people with high assurance of their capabilities set challenging goals and maintain strong commitment to them. Okay, challenging goals, ito hindi basta-basta, ito yung gusto kong makamit, ito yung gusto kong mga ma-achieve sa buhay ko. Ang dali-dali naman nun. So i-challenge mo yung sa sarili mo na mas maka-achieve ka ng medyo banatin mo talaga yung buto mo. Hindi yung ang achievement mo ay mahugasan lang yung plato. Okay? So set a challenging goal, okay? And maintain that strong commitment hangga't hindi mo nagagawa ito, hangga't hindi mo na-achieve. Now, what I have been telling you is already one of the maximums that a teacher can have, okay? So hindi ko naman minamaliit ang mga teacher na kami sa aming kakayahan. Pero those things, being able to build a house, to build a solar power panels, self-sufficiency, to uh, to invest in Bitcoin, okay, to have a pension. Those are already high goals, but they are still achievable and measurable. Okay. Now, at the same time, I can also invest in business, but at this time and age in my life, at this point in my life, I would like really to be able to focus in teaching because this is what I love to do. Kung magbi-business ako, mababawasan ang aking commitment sa pagtuturo and the sense of making my students' lives my students' future brighter and better. Okay, that sense that I was able to achieve that or contribute to that. So sa ngayon, yung business wala sa isip ko. Okay? Pero I can also incorporate that maybe later on. So set challenging goals and maintain strong commitment to them. Number 3, heighten or sustain efforts in the face of failures or setbacks. So kung nagkakaroon ng mga failures and setbacks, dagdagan mo. Huwag kang sumuko. Instead, dagdagan mo yung pagsisikap mo. Okay? So katulad ngayon, no? Katulad ngayon, guys, DYCI, sabihin ko na sa inyo, I don't think it is a secret na yung mahabang panahon ng pandemic na ito, hindi kumikita ang school. So dahil dito ay talagang malaki ang kinalugi ng school. At dahil dito ay pinakiusapan na kami ng eskwelahan na magturo ng sobra kaysa doon sa halimbawa okay, ibigay ko na lang yung ano ko. Halimbawa ay kumikita ako ng 1,000 kapag nagturo ako ng 24 units. So halimbawa, ang kita ko ay 1,000 kada buwan kapag nagturo ako ng 24 units. Ngayon, ang kita ko ay 1,000 pa rin kada buwan, pero ang kailangan kong ituro ay 30 units. Okay? Now, this is a setback. This is a setback. Dahil kung hindi namin gagawin yon, pare-parehong mawawala. Okay? Hindi makakabayad ang yanga sa mga pagkakautang at saka yung mga estudyante hindi rin makapagbabayad doon sa mga dating utang kung pipilitin na hindi na makapag-enroll. So, this is a win-win situation. So, we heighten or sustain our efforts. In this case, all of us sustained our efforts in order to face the setbacks. You understand? That's the reason why a lot of us are teaching a lot of sections because we are required to teach more but to receive the same amount of salary. But I don't see it as we being cheated or we being shortchanged or nadadaya kami. I see it as a temporary solution in order to achieve our original goals. So yan, high assurance. That's one of those things. And Michael also sees that way. At sabi niya, if we get to be able to survive this, once yung mga scholarship ninyo na pinangako ng gobyerno sa inyo ay naibayad na sa school, all those things na hiningi ng school na additional favor sa amin or additional workload sa amin, ibabalik lahat ng school yan. But if we are going to refuse, of course, then we are just going to be malilibing kami, tayong lahat, kasama ng eskwelahan. So ngayon, pare-pareho tayong nagkakaroon ng mga adjustments. So ang tawag dito, heightened or sustained effort in the face of failures, not really failure in our case, but a setback. This is just a setback. And you know what? Whenever there are setbacks, always look for opportunities. And in this case, itong setback na ito became opportunities for a lot of people. In my case, what opportunity? Dahil nagkaroon ng pandemic, balik ako doon sa solar power panels. Dahil nagkaroon ng pandemic, natigil ang mga construction ng mga kumpanya na nagpapakabit ng solar panel. Okay? Nagkaroon ng oversupply ng solar panel sa mundo at dito sa Pilipinas. Oversupply. Bumagsak ang presyo ng solar panel. Usually, pagka nagpakabit ka ng solar panel, it will take 1 million to 1.5 million ang pagpapakabit ng solar panel. Okay? But I took it as an opportunity. This is the time. Bagsak ang presyo ng mga solar panels, pwede na akong magpakabit. So this is an opportunity. I took this setback as an opportunity. Ito ang pagkakataon ko para ma-afford ko ang solar panel. And now we have a solar panel. And now all the air conditionings in the house are working without us having to pay a single cent from Meralco to Meralco. So you see, some setbacks are opportunities for others. Number 4, attribute failure to insufficient effort or deficient knowledge and skills which are acquirable. Okay. So, people with high assurance in their capabilities, kapag ka nagkaroon ng pagkakamali, kapag ka nagkaroon ng pagkabigo, okay, o pagkatalo, hindi nila isinisisi ito sa iba. Instead, ay tinitignan nila ito na kakulangan nila, okay, kakulangan ng kanilang effort, kakulangan ng kanilang kaalaman at kakayanan na maaari namang ma-acquire. Okay? So, these setbacks or failures will now serve as a learning opportunity. Okay? As a learning event, a teaching moment in their lives to what? To overcome the next setback. Hindi ito maghahanap ng sisisihin. Kasi siya, kasi sila, kasi hindi ako sinuportahan nila. Okay? Kung hindi, ang titignan, saan ako nagkamali? Ano ba ang pagkukulang ko? Saan pa ba ako po pwedeng mag-improve? Okay. Ito pa mga dapat kong pag-aralan. Kinakailangan matutunan ko ito. Okay, sige. And then, right now, I have already acquired the necessary effort, the additional effort that I must give. I have already acquired additional knowledge. I have already acquired additional skills. I will do it again. Okay? I am going to do it again. Hindi yung ayoko na, suko na ako. Kasi siya, kasi sila, kasi ang gobyerno kasi ang Diyos Ayun. Number 5, approach threatening situations with assurance that they can exercise control over them. Okay? So, those threatening situations can only threaten you as much as it can threaten you. Okay? Okay, ulitin ko ha. Threatening situations can only threaten you to the extent that it is capable of threatening you. Now, if you go beyond and stand in front of threatening situations and assess the threatening situation, then you can exercise control. How much damage can I allow this threatening situation? How much of the sacrifices? What are the What are the chess pieces in the board that I have to sacrifice and still get to be able to win the game? Do you get my analogy? Okay? Ano ang pwede kong i-sacrifice? Ano ang pwede kong tanggalin muna in order to get over this threatening situation and still get to be able to stand? You get the do you get the analogy? You get the point, okay? So in a way, you can reduce in for example, you can postpone possibly, you can possibly postpone uh, going to Boracay. You can possibly postpone your plan to go abroad for a vacation, okay, in order to sustain and keep yourself standing. Now, in contrast, people who doubt their capabilities, ito naman, they shy away from tasks they view as personal threats. Okay? So, yung mga tasks na sa tingin nila ay ibinibigay sa kanila para sila ay kung minsan kasi merong mga tao na pagka binigyan ng position o binigyan ng assignment, kaya binigay sa akin tong assignment na to para magkaroon sila ng dahilan na tanggalin na ako sa organization. So, ang gagawin ay magtatago from the task, tatanggihan yung responsibility, have low aspirations and weak commitment to goals they choose to pursue. So, ang sasabihin nila, okay lang kung mangyari, okay lang. Kung okay lang na makuha ko, okay lang na hindi. That is fatalistic. Okay? Guys, kung nakikita nyo mukha ko ngayon, kung nakikita nyo lang ang mukha ko ngayon, so, ang dami ko kasing naririnig na ganyan eh. Okay lang na makuha ko to, okay lang na hindi. Hindi okay yon. Ang okay ay talagang pagsikapan mo makuha mo yon. Okay? Choose to pursue. They dwell on personal deficiencies, obstacles they will encounter, and all kinds of adverse outcomes rather than concentrating on how to perform successfully. Okay, so tinitignan nila, paano ko gagawin yon? Mahina ako. Paano ko gagawin yon? Mayroon akong diabetes. Paano ko gagawin yon? Meron akong cancer. Paano ko gagawin yon? Ang dami kumokontra sa akin. Rather than concentrating on how to perform or how to achieve it successfully. Guys, I have already told you this. I have a severe depression. Depression. It's a mental condition, an emotional condition. At ang depression ang kalaban ng lahat ng ambisyon. Oo. Ang depression ang kalaban ng lahat ng tagumpay. Dahil ang taong may depression ay pinipilit ng isip niya na paniwalain ang kanyang sarili na wala siyang magagawa, na wala siyang kakayahan. Ganon ang depression. Pero, in spite of that, I am here. Ayokong bumangon sa umaga. Pakiramdam ko ay pangit ang araw at walang magandang mangyayari sa akin. But I always pray to God. And with the help of medication, and with the view that at the end of the day, magiging masaya ako dahil meron akong nagawa at meron akong natulungan. I will force myself to sit here, talk to you, teach you, share with you the best thing that I could share. Okay, in spite of that personal deficiency that I have, my depression, and then also my physical condition of rapid heart rate. I have arrhythmia. That's the reason why mabagal akong kumilos at maglakad. But in spite of that, I go beyond and over those difficulties in order to perform successfully. I hope hindi ninyo ako tinitignan na nagyayabang. I am ano ba ang may bibigay kong example na may karapatan ako na ibigay as an example, but my own personal experiences and my own personal struggles. Number 4, people who doubt their capabilities slacken their efforts and give up quickly in the face of difficulties. Umaayaw agad. People who doubt their capabilities are slow to recover their sense of efficacy following failure or setbacks and fall easy victims to stress and depression. Ayan. So, they believe, buti na nga lang, no? Buti na nga lang, I have a clinical depression, pero I have an inflated sense of efficacy. Okay? Kaya yung stress and depression, although meron ako, pero hindi nananalo. And then of course, siyempre, hindi ko pinapabayaan yung schedule ko sa doktor ko, sa aking psychiatrist. At yung mga gamot na iniinom ko, I really I really uh, I really make it a point, okay, to religiously take my medications. Okay, so yes, we are going to have setbacks and difficulties and failures. Okay, but people with who have low self esteem or low sense of self efficacy would have difficulty in uh, racing back to or going back, okay, going back to their uh, towards recovery of self-esteem. Dr. Bandura described four main sources of influence by which a person's self-efficacy is developed and maintained. Ito yung mga dahilan kung bakit kung mga dahilan ng level ng self-efficacy mo, kung bakit mataas o mababa. Okay, number 1, performance accomplishments or mastery experiences. So meron kang mga karanasan sa sarili mo na na-accomplish mo, nagawa mo, at nagkaroon ka ng mastery. Okay? I will tell you that these are the things, no? When I was studying in high school, tumagal lang ako sa high school ng 2 buwan at natigil na ako because I have my physical problems, okay? I have health problems. And ang ginawa ko ay I studied on my own, okay? I studied on my own. At in my self-study, ay natagpuan ko ang sarili ko that I get to be able to acquire knowledge much faster and much more effectively than when I am in the classroom. Mas naging malawak ang ang nalaman ko. At napatunayan pa 'yon noong hindi pa ako nakakakuha ng nung pumasok ako ng college, I studied computer programming in Ateneo na ang mga kaklase ko ay graduate na ng college. Dahil yung computer programming na pinag-aralan ko sa Ateneo ay para sa mga tapos na, mga nagdadagdag na lang ng kanilang kaalaman. And consistently, I am the top in the class. I was the top in the class. I was very good in flow charting. I was very good in programming. I find it very easy for me to to code programs. Okay? Ang gamit ko pa noon ay DBase at saka C. Okay, C++ at saka COBOL. And then I also had these mastery experiences wherein when I was a teenager, okay, I get to be able to get involved in church activities And itinulak-tulak na ako ng mga taong simbahan at ng pari noon, si Monsignor Nocon, to speak to groups of people. And I had this experience na nag-e-enjoy ako at yung mga tao na nakikinig sa akin. And so it boosted my confidence. Okay? It boosted my confidence na magaling pala ako, kaya ko pala. So those were my heydays. And even in the seminary, when I was studying, I was always on top of my class. And even when I was taking master's degree in philosophy in UST, I always managed to be on top of the class. So my sense of self-efficacy, I do not shy away from things na maaaring sa unang tingin ay wala akong expertise, but I believe that once I put my finger on it, ay kaya ko na matutunan at maging mahusay sa whatever field that I am assigned into. So, again, sana wag niyong isipin na napakayabang ng inyong teacher. Okay? Number 2, vicarious experiences. Vicarious experiences are experiences of other people, okay, that has inspired you. So, stories of the successes of other people that has inspired you. Okay? So, katulad ng mga kasaysayan ng mga santo at mga bayani at mga inventors. And then, of course, verbal or social persuasion, yung mga salita na naririnig mo at yung paniniwala sa iyo ng mga tao sa paligid mo. Kaya alam nyo, this is very, very unfortunate. We Filipinos and a lot of people, even in other countries, they like putting down people by labeling them as tanga, stupido, tamad, crazy, all those things. Yung idea niya hindi katulad ng idea mo, and then you would people have a very easy, and it's really very easy for people to label them as crazy simply because their ideas are not the same as your idea. And then, of course, your physiological, somatic, and emotional states. If you have a healthy body, a healthy mind, then this will also affect your sense of self-efficacy, or yung self-efficacy, yung husay ng sarili. Okay? Now, do you have any question about Albert Bandura? Now, we will go on to Carol S. Dweck. Then after that, Edwin Locke. And then, tapos na tayo. Yung mga kadyo-join lang, ay babalik naman tayo doon sa number 1. And then, I will say goodbye doon sa mga kaninang maga pa ay nasa akin na kasama ko na. Okay. Carol S. Dweck's fixed and growth mindset theory. So we have both fixed and growth mindset theory. So these are two types of mindset. People who believe that success is based on their innate abilities have a fixed theory of intelligence and goes under fixed mindset. Na para sa kanila, yung kanilang galing ay minana na, handyan na, at yung wala nito ay hindi magkakaroon nun. Okay? So yun yung fixed mindset. Na magaling ako sa music, okay? Kaya ako, may gift ako sa music, okay? So it is expected from me that I am going to be a musical person. Okay, wala akong gift sa music, so I am not expected to be able to to be musical. But that is wrong. I am not gifted in music, ladies and gentlemen. I am not gifted in music, but let me tell you, I can sing. When I was young, talagang sintonado ako. I do not hear and I do not recognize na sintonado ako. Pero gusto kong kumanta. Pinag-aralan kong kumanta. Nag-join ako ng choir. Yung mic. Nag-join ako ng choir, and you know what? You know what? one of the things that made me go to the seminary to to study in the seminary so that I can always sing every day. Okay? Matututunan. So yung fixed mindset will limit you. It will limit you. Sasabihin mo sa sarili mo, I do not have a gift for that, then I am not going to try it anymore. Okay? People who believe that success is based on hard work, learning, training, and perseverance have growth theory of intelligence, which goes under growth mindset, meaning to say that success and capabilities are learned. Okay? They can be acquired. Okay? So, ito naman yung mga may growth mindset. And these are the people who tend to become more successful because if they do not have it, they will take it. Okay, kung wala sila nun, kukunin nila yon. Gagawa sila ng paraan para magkaroon nun. Okay? Kung hindi sila marunong magsayaw at talagang hindi kaya magsayaw, magda-dance lesson sila. Ako hindi ako marunong magsayaw, pero you know what one of my future immediate plans, okay? Pinaka-exercise ko na rin. Talaga kasing kaliwa ang mga paa ko. Pero bago ako magkarayuma ay magte-take ako ng dance lesson. Mag-e-enroll ako sa dance classes. Because I was never able to dance when I was young. Until this age, hindi ako nakapagsasayaw dahil talagang hindi ako marunong magsayaw. But I don't believe that I do not have it in me. I can get it. I can learn it. And that's going to one of the reasons why plano ko yon is for me to sustain my health also when I am as you are getting older, kailangan mo na exercise. Kailangan mo maging mas flexible. kaya 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 pinili ko na magsayaw, matutunan ng pagsasayaw. Okay? Bakit hindi acting? Bakit hindi singing? Because I have already done that. Okay? I have already experienced being an actor sa theater at nagawa ko na rin na mag-acting while hindi pala ako nag-acting while singing. Pero nagawa ko na siya pareho. Okay? And I can always get back to that role kung mayroong pagkakataon to be to be an actor and to be a singer. Fixed mindset individuals dread failure because it is a negative statement on their basic abilities. Takot sila na magkamali at mabigo dahil kapag ka nabigo sila, sa palagay nila ay hindi sila yung hindi masisira na rin yung self-image nila na yung pinapaniwalaan nila that they have this talent hindi pala totoo. Okay? So they are afraid of failure. Individuals may not necessarily be aware of their own mindset, but their mindset can still be discerned based on their behavior. So, ito pala muna. Growth mindset individuals do not mind or fear failure as much because they realize their performance can be improved and learning comes from failure. Okay, sabi nga one of the things that I like doon sa mga sinabi ni uh, Bjorn Ironside doon sa Vikings, if you have not failed enough, then you are not ready. Because from failures, you learn. You learn from your failures. So kung wala ka pa, kung hindi ka pa nagkamali ng napakaraming beses, hindi ka handa. Okay? So, value your failures. Charge them to your experience. Learn from them. Then, lastly, individuals may not necessarily be aware of their own mindset, but their mindset can still be discerned based on their behavior. So we are not 100% clear on what our mindsets are. So we have to examine ourselves every day or as often as possible. And let us try to see how we react to challenges and the different stimuli that we encounter every day. And based on the way we act and respond to this, we will be able to discern what our mindsets are. Do we have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? Or are they overlapping? Okay, is it 25% fixed and is it 75% growth? Or is it overlapping 50-50 or 60-40? And from there, you can begin to increase your growth mindset while your fixed mindset is getting lower and lower until it becomes zero. Question regarding this? Okay. Edwin Locke's goal setting theory. Another one is Viktor Frankl. Sabi niya, si Viktor Frankl sa itong si Edwin Locke, all human failures and all human mm, difficulties, okay, can be overcome by setting a goal, okay? The basic contents of setting theory are summarized in terms of 14 categories of findings. The more difficult the goal, the greater the achievement. Okay, alam nyo na yon. So, make your goals difficult enough but not so difficult that it will frustrate you. The more specific or explicit the goal, the more precisely performance is regulated. So, the goal should be specific, okay? So that your performance will be also regulated and done towards that specific goal. Okay? So hindi masyadong malawak. Alam mo yung kung ano talaga ang gusto mong marating as of this moment. So ngayong buwan na to gusto ko matutunan si Santayana. Okay, 'yon ang gusto mo. Gusto mong maintindihan ang philosophy ni Santayana. So that is a very very specific goal. Pero kung sasabihin mo ngayong buwan na to, gusto ko matutunan ng philosophy, good luck. Okay? Good luck. Number 3, goals that are both specific and difficult lead to the highest performance. So, difficult enough and specific enough. Commitment to goals is most critical when goals are specific and difficult. So, mas lalo ka magiging committed dito kapag it is difficult enough and specific enough again. Okay? So, again, the key word here is specific and difficult. High commitment to goal is attained when the individual is convinced that the goal is important. So, you have to choose a goal that you know is really important and that you really value most. Letter B, the individual is convinced that the goal is attainable. Okay, hindi imposible that this may be difficult, but it is not impossible that you can see progress along the way. There are many ways to convince a person that a goal is important. Okay, in most laboratory settings, it is quite sufficient to simply ask for compliance after providing a plausible rationale for the study. Meaning to say that when you give people the reason why you have to do this, then you can assure that people will comply. In an organization, also in a company, there is a certain level of compliance when people are told about their vision and mission or what the company wants to achieve. And because this will also affect them, then there is going to be a higher degree of compliance from other people, okay? Or people who are from people who are from people who are from people who are uh, from people who are going to be affected by that, okay? In work situations, the supervisor or leader can use legitimate authority to get initial commitment, okay? Uh, it is possible, but this is not uh, effective. Okay? Yun ba? I am a person in authority. Okay? So sabihin ko sa iyo kung ano ang dapat mong gawin. Mapipilitan sumunod yung tao, pero without any commitment. Okay? Or very, very small commitment. Continued commitment may require additional incentives such as supportiveness, recognition, and reward. So if you want people to be committed to the goal, then there should be additional incentives such as you are supportive to them, that you recognize their accomplishments, and there is a reward system. Financial incentives may facilitate commitment and performance. Participation by subordinates in setting goals leads to higher commitment than curtly telling people what to do with no explanation. Self-set goals can be highly effective in gaining commitment. Okay, importante lagi talaga yung mayroong mga incentive, and you tell people, you make them understand why they should be committed in doing so, how it will benefit the company, and how it's going to benefit the different individuals. By just telling them to do it without any explanations at all, you're going to get a half-hearted commitment from them. And one of the most important things I learned from Stephen Covey is to allow participation of members of the organization to set the goals. To set the goals. Okay? So for effective leadership, commitment can be enhanced by effective leadership. Relevant leadership techniques include providing and communicating an inspiring vision. Yon. And I think not just provide, but allow the people, okay? Allow the people to be involved in creating the vision. Ito yung gusto nating mangyari. And then act as a role model for the employees. And not just for the employees, if you're going to become parents or kuya or ate, act as a role model. Expect outstanding performance. Okay, so this is what I am always telling my students, and all the I'd been a leader of so many committees and organizations back in the past, and we had projects. I I told them that we do not just do it; we should come up with the best, with the best. And in the seminary, I led a few projects, and this is what I told them. I am not here to hover over your shoulder to tell you to see if what you are doing is good or right. You had been chosen. I always tell them you had been chosen to be part of this committee because of your talent, and from your talent, you are expected to produce the best that your talent uh, that was given that your talent is capable of producing, and put it all together in order to come up with this project. And well, during my time, that was already many years ago. Pero I was able to perform, not me, okay, not me. Ito yung naipagmalaki ko sa kanila. When the project was done, natapos namin yung production ng Anino ng Langit. Ano 'yon, play. It was a big play. So lahat kami ay kasama doon, yung iba artista, yung iba ay yung iba ay support, okay? And then natapos namin yung pagsusulat ng libro, Bulong na Sumisigaw. And then nakagawa din ako ng annual namin that everybody was applauding, everyone was saying that this is really one of the best that the seminary was able to accomplish, come up with. I always tell my members, this is not me, this is you. Okay? Uh, dahil alam nyo yung a kind of leader, halimbawa presidente ng klase. Ako ang presidente ng klase, kailangan gawin ko lahat ito. Kailangan ako magwalis, kailangan ako ang gumawa nito. No, that is not leadership. That is enslavement. Okay? Hindi ka leader kapag ganun ka. A leader is a person who taps the talents, the capabilities of people who are put under your care. So, that's letter E. Okay? That's letter D and E. From promoting employees who embrace the vision and dismissing those who reject it, of course you have to do that. Okay? Sometimes being a leader entails making the most difficult decision of who to retain and who to let go. And then delegating responsibility and let them become owners of the tasks. So dito ka magaling, ito ang gawin mo at you have almost complete freedom in doing that particular task. And that's what I did when we are doing Bulong na Sumisigaw, and finally, yung my last project in the seminary, the Jubileum. Goal setting itself can be delegated for capable, responsible employees. Okay? So, siyempre, when you do goal setting, not everyone, of course, but those employees who can be good representatives of the rest. And then you have to express that you really believe in them, expressing genuine confidence in employee capabilities. And then, of course, having training, okay? Training, and of course, one of the best thing that you can do is to promote people or give them the task in public, okay? So that when this person said yes, there are many who would applause and show him, show him their support. Okay, so for this commitment to be public, it means that this person will also receives the mandate of the bigger group. Okay, malapit na tayo matapos. Malapit na rin maubos ang boses ko. In addition to having a direct effect on performance, self-efficacy influences the difficulty level of the goal chosen or accepted. Siyempre, if you have higher self-efficacy, then you're going to choose more difficult and higher goals. And then you're going to have commitment to goals. And then if there are negative feedback or failure, you don't get disappointed by it. Instead, those negative feedbacks are taken in as, well, feedbacks. Okay? Simply feedbacks, constructive ones that you can consider. The choice of task strategies are also taken into consideration what kind of strategy you are going to use in order to achieve what you wanted to achieve. Goal setting is most effective when there is a feedback that shows progress in relation to the goal. So whenever there is something that you need to do, there should be a periodic review. How are you in the performance of the project? Okay, how far are you? Okay, how far are you in achieving the goal? Okay, so in other words, at the outset, you have to establish milestones. Milestones are key areas in the project wherein you can identify that this is already milestone A and milestone B that goes to milestone C. So at this point in your project, you are already in B. So you have to be able to even if you are not reporting to people, even if you are only reporting to yourself, you have to be able to establish various milestones, okay? And get to be able to do a performance review, okay, or a project report to yourself. Goal setting along with self-efficacy mediates the effect of knowledge of past performance on subsequent performance. So the things that you learned in the past And of course, the things that you are learning now in your present performance are taken together by you, okay? By you, and you are fusing all the elements that are best fused together in order to come up with a more excellent approach. Number 9, goals affect performance by affecting the direction of action. So, syempre, if you have goals, the direction of action is affected by your goals, the degree of effort exerted, and the persistence of action over time. So, this is already a repetition of what we have already discussed earlier. Number 10, goals stimulate planning in general. So, of course, when you have goals, you don't have to stop with goals. You have to plan, okay? You have to make plans. You have to make detailed plans on how to achieve the goal. Which one must go first, okay? And how to achieve the ways and means in order to make it achievable, in order for that goal, in order for that project to be self-supporting, okay, in order for that project to see its completion, okay. So in a way, while you are working on that project, let that project work for itself. There is a possibility, okay. While you are building a school, trying to make a school good, and establishing the name of the school, and making the school influential, and having a name and better academic standard, okay. You are you are uh you are not going to do it all at once. You're not going to do it all at once, but the improvements, okay, the improvements and the leveling should be able to be supported by one after another. I hope you are getting what I'm trying to say. Okay, so self-supporting. In a way, the project will have a life of its own. Okay? In a way, the project becomes organic that ito maliit muna pero habang tumatanda, habang kumakain, lumalaki na lumalaki on its own. So it should be planned, okay? Stimulate planning in general. Often, the planning quality is higher than that which occurs without goals. So, kailangan talaga may plano. Kung gagawa ka ng bahay, bago ka pumutol ng kahoy, kinakailangan i-measure mo muna. A carpenter measure twice, cut once. Okay? Carpenter measures twice, and then cuts once. Hindi ka po pwedeng basta puputulin mo muna saka mo i-measure. Okay? Hindi, magkakaiba-iba yan. So, puro measurement muna. And then even before the carpentry starts, you have to make a drawing. Okay? Ako, yung plano ko, before I go to my architect, I have already drawn several plans. Okay? Hindi ako marunong mag-drawing. So, sketches, gumawa ako ng mga sketches, what I want, what I what are the things that I want, uh, from the side view, from the front view, back view, top view of each floor ng gusto kong gawing bahay. And then saka ako lalapit sa architect para gawan talaga ito ng proper measurement. Of course. So you really have to sit down and do some planning, okay? And then of course cost analysis. Cost analysis. 11. When people strive for goals on complex tasks, they are at least effective in discovering suitable task strategies. Okay? So, as you are working on a complex task, you are also going to have some ideas about how to strategize. Okay? Okay, so actually, even if they have prior experience or training on the task, they can find a new strategy. Okay, don't just go with what has already been proven. strategies in the past, you can always modify. You can always come up with new ways of doing things. Okay. 12. Goals, including goal commitment in combination with self-efficacy, mediate or partially mediate the effects of several personality traits and incentives on performance, especially if this is a group activity, then you are mediating or actually doing something to put together all the different characteristics, personality traits of all the people who are working on a particular goal. Okay? So as a leader, you have to be able, as a leader, you have to be able to tap the different personality traits of people. It is a bad idea to collect people with the same personality traits. Para ka lang bumili ng pare-parehong tool. Okay? Para kang bumili ng 5 martilyo. Ah, instead of buying isang martilyo, isang screwdriver, isang ilaw, okay? Ang ginawa mo, puro martilyo binili mo. Ano gagawin mo sa 5 na puro martilyo? So, diversity is very important in group work. And then, of course, as a leader, you have to be able to be the glue, okay? Ikaw yung glue. Ikaw yung pandikit that unites all these different people together. Okay? Goal setting and goal-related mechanisms can be trained and or adopted in the absence of training for the purpose of self-regulation. So, in the absence of training, kinakailangan ninyo talaga ang goal setting. Alam niyo at least kung hindi kayo marunong, hindi niyo alam kung paano gagawin ang isang bagay, at least alam niyo kung ano ang gusto niyo magawa. And then from then on, you can start doing your research on how to do this. A lot of things, no? A lot of things are done because of the need to invent that, okay? Because of a crisis. So, in a way, progress is actually crisis dependent, guys. Crisis dependent. That the only way, that the reason why we are trying to come up with something is that because we do not have that yet and we need it right now. COVID. We do not have that yet before, and that's the reason why we do not have a vaccine for COVID. But because of the need for the vaccine, ngayon, marami na nag-emerge na mga vaccines that are viable to give us temporary or even permanent solution against COVID, against COVID infection. Goals serve as standards of self-satisfaction, with harder goals demanding higher accomplishment in order to attain self uh, sorry again goals serve as standards of self-satisfaction, with harder goals demanding higher accomplishment in order to attain self-satisfaction than easy goals. Goals can also be used to enhance task interest, reduce boredom, and promote goal clarity. When used to punish or intimidate people, however, goals increase stress and anxiety. So this is already discussed. Became part of the previous and prior discussions. All right. So I want you to make a goal setting plan short term for yourself. Okay. And make a dream board. Number 5. Self-efficacy collage also. Try to come up with all of this, ha? Number 2, 3, gawin nyo lahat ito. Gawin nyo lahat ito and it will really help you. It will really help you in understanding yourself and then of course improving yourself. So, how are you guys?
Okay pa naman po.
Okay pa naman. Okay, babalik na ako for those who are here with me from this morning, yung natapos na yung kasi tatlong topic ito no? Tatlong topic itong part ng ating tatlong topic itong ating discussion, okay? So those who are with me since this morning ay pwede na mag-out, okay? And then what I'm going to do ay i-replay ko na lang yung recorded video nung lecture ko this morning. Kasi siguro naman napapansin niyo nagpipiyok-piyok na ako. Kasi kanina maaga pa ako nagsasalita. Okay? So, it's the same, no? It's the same. Nothing is walang mawawala sa inyo kasi parehong-pareho lang naman. So, pabayaan nyo na i-play ko na lang sa inyo yung video. Sana ay naging successful yung pag-video ko. So, nasaan ba yung ginagawa ng saan ba napunta yung video? Okay, yung iba pa pwede nang umalis, no? To give room to those people. Hanggang 100 lang pala talaga eh. Kala ko 250. Okay. Ito. Sa Zoom. So, record. So guys, kayo mga natira dito, I am already I'm going to show you I'm going to share with you the recorded presentation from this morning. And then yung mga pumapasok pa lang kasi meron pa tayong 5 to 8, no? I-share ko na lang sa kanila. Stop presenting muna ako and then present a window. Tignan natin to. Ito yata yun. O ito. Mali. I-present ko na lang yung screen. Okay? So, yan. I will be presenting this morning's lecture.
Lang po yung exam namin.
Yes.